Morning, I'm Fernando Martinez. I'm the principal and owner of Caribbean ICF Solutions. Caribbean ICF Solutions is a ICF solutions provider that has been active since the last 15 years. We have been serving Puerto Rico and the Caribbean for the last 16 years. We have uh, promoted and supported this technology for the ICF technology, which is the insulated concrete form, for the last 15 years. And we have about 100 projects that we have done in the USVI. We have done over 20 projects. So we have a very active presence in the USVI. And today we were going to be talking about the ICF uh, as an innovative solution for the USVI. Okay, insulated concrete forms as a complete solution for your projects. First, a little bit about our background and what we do. We are a specialized ICF solutions, a micro rebar solutions provider. We're Puerto Rico based. We cover Puerto Rico, Caribbean, Central, and South America. Like I mentioned, we have been 16 years in the market, serving the market, 100 plus projects and 20 plus projects in all the islands in the USVI, um, among all other islands. We have a series of products that not only compose a total ICF solution, which basically is a building envelope and all the products that complement that to have a very complete solution, which we have been perfectioning throughout the years. This is a proven solution, and we're going to be talking about that today. But before I start with that, I want to start with the definition of ICF, which is insulated concrete forms. Is rigid foam plastic foam molds that keep the concrete in place during the curing and remain in place after pouring to serve as a thermal insulation for concrete walls and roofs. They are made of foam, commonly known as expanded polystyrene or extruded polystyrene. EPS is what they call expanded polystyrene, and XPX, the extruded. One of the things I want to clarify, because there's a misperception of what this concept is. People think that you are having a foam house, but basically the foam is the form for the concrete. So when people say about having an ICF home and people refer as having a foam house, that's not accurate. It's basically you have a solid concrete house that is formed with foam, and the foam serves as insulation and have other additional benefits. And basically, when you take a house of ICF, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a full monolithic concrete structure, which is very, very strong, and it's gonna protect you against any catastrophic event, either being a Cat 5 hurricane or a strong earthquake. So let's talk about how many types of ICF they're available or they exist in the market. There's three types of ICF forms. You have the flat wall system, you have the grid system, and you have the post and beam systems. The flat wall system is basically the same as molding. Is basically the same as molding with wood. You have a solid wall of concrete, and it's a shear wall. It's very strong, and it eliminates pretty much the columns and beams that typically you have on a house. Obviously, the structural will specify according to the design how many beams or columns in addition to this you're gonna need. Then you have a, let me show you. This is the flat. This is an example. Within the flat, there's two types. There's a block and there's a panel system. There's many brands of the block system, which all have its own merits. Um, But the one that we chosen to to distribute is the quad lock, which is a panel system. And we're going to be talking about the differences and the attributes and the versatility of the system versus the typical pre-assembled block system. Now, the grid system, as you can see, is basically a form that has a hole. It has basically a limited amount of R value, which we're gonna talk about what is R value, but it forms like a little grid here. It uses less concrete than this one, but in terms of strength, this probably provides the most strength. And then you finally have the post and beam system, which is this one that you have columns and horizontal lintels that create the basically the structural element of that whatever you're gonna build. So this is a post and beam. This is the flat that we have two types, and then we have the grid, which is like a waffle kind of thing. All right, so now I'm gonna mention how we do business. So it's important that whatever ICF you choose, it's very important that you consider what type of support you're going to get. And we have built a business model to ensure that not only you get the product, but you also get the support. And not only the support about the product, the design, we work with the structural design, we have in-house engineering, and we also help in the execution, which we help with scheduling, project management support, and the most important part is training your contractor. We can train any contractor. So basically, Caribbean ICF is like a one-stop ICF solutions provider that under one roof, we can provide you the we can help you with the planning, with the structural design, with the all the products that you're gonna need, ICF products for that project. We can train your contractor. We can qualify contractors. We can do we mentioned the designs, which we adapted to according to the need. We have micro rebar solutions, we have finishing solutions, we have roof coating solutions. And when we put everything together, we basically get to our total ICF solution, which is a complete, innovative, and integrated ICF cost-effective solution. When we put everything together, this is what we're gonna get. You get the building envelope with the quad lock, which is an integrated wall and floor and roof system. Then for replacement or rebar, we have a product which is totally approved by code. A structural solution is micro rebars helix. We're going to talk about that during the presentation. For the wall finishings, we have all the wall finishes for stucco and in inside, on the outside. We have for pools. We can do pools, we can do cisterns, we can do fountains in this technology. And we also have the solutions for the deck, the pool deck, the driveways, sidewalks, all that. This product will be good. We're going to talk about that as well. We also have some forming solutions for contractors. Anything that adds value to the construction process, we'll bring it in as part of our product line, either for the owner or for the contractor. We just want to make the process seamless and efficient, so you could get the benefit of the speed of the ICF. So we have forming solutions like fast food. We have also bracing systems, which we're going to mention in the presentation. And finally, it's very important that you know that when you finish the ICF roof, at the end result on top is going to be concrete. So you can use any type of roof coating solution. We have chosen to use the brand Geico, specifically one product, because it's a silicone 100% and it lasts a long time without a recoating. And that's very important. The other important part is that it's also approved for potable water. So when you recollect water from rain, you can filter that water and drink it. That's very important. The helix, you can use it basically on the footings, slab on ground, steel and top roof reinforcement, and floors reinforcement. You can also use it to reduce rebar in the walls, but since we're in a very high seismic zone, the code always requires to have rebar on the walls. We cannot basically eliminate the labor as we can do on the floors and roofs and the slab on ground and footings. So let's talk about the Quadlock ICF building system. This is a very integrated system. As I mentioned, it has the walls, it has the roof, the floors, and when you integrate everything together, you have a monolithic concrete structure. And with this system, you can build literally anything you want. You can do pools, you could do pitch roof, any type of pitch roof, hip or gable. You could do inclined roofs, you can do curved walls, you could do bunkers. Literally gives you the flexibility to do anything that you want. Let's talk about the benefits. The benefits to the builder, the first benefit is the speed. It is 3 to 5 times faster than traditional concrete construction method. And the time difference is significant. Let's say for a 2,500 house of 3 stories, you typically take about 12 to 14 months in the traditional system. And this is in Puerto Rico. In some of the islands, it could be longer, depending on the availability of the workforce. Uh, but a house like that with the ICF, it will take you about 4 months to build it. So you can take away from that project site about 8 months, 7 months, 7 or 8 months. We will analyze this time. We will give you an estimate every time we do an preliminary estimate, and this is customized per project. So when I tell you this time, this is not 100% for every project. Every project has its own merits according to the design and also to the terrain, to the land. It's a lightweight, easy to move, no cranes needed. So it's a cost savings. You lower the material and labor cost during the construction process. It's less time on site. You need less skilled labor, and you could achieve a lot of square feet per man hour, which is very important. When you use our system, because you're using the forms, the EPS forms, you don't have to use the wood and you don't have to put it or take it out. So you're gonna save 65% in shoring cost, shoring and stripping time. When you use a roof system, you're gonna, by default, because of the form, you're gonna save 50% in the concrete and 33% in the rebar, in the required rebar for that structure, for that roof. And when you use Helix to reinforce the top of that roof or floor, you can save up to an additional 53%. So when you compare the traditional slab with the quad deck and Helix, you can save up to 86% in rebar. This is a lighter building structure which translate into direct savings on the concrete and foundations and ceilings. One of the major benefits of this technology is that when you put the insulation, that insulation gives you certain additional benefits that you will never get into this traditional concrete construction. Energy efficiency is one of them. It increases the R value, and the R value, we're going to talk about that, but it's basically what allows you to have energy efficiency. The R22 gives you a 50% reduction in the HVAC load. What that means? That means that if you're going to have a room with 24,000 BTUs, when you use our system, that same room, that same space, you're going to need 12. Literally half of the capacity of what you normally would need in a house with CMU or with traditional concrete. So that is about 30% upfront cost savings on purchase of all mechanical equipment, and that's a major saving. In the additional hidden benefit that you're going to have is you're going to put a solar system. You're going to need half of the capacity of the batteries and the solar panels, which is a significant savings in your project. In terms of risk management, the contractors have less probability of accidents because everything is foamed. You don't have to carry a lot of weight. They can do better scheduling of some contractors. It's less construction waste. It's a lower safety. It can lower the safety and security costs on the job site. It's a higher quality building, which is a competitive advantage. And Quadlock offers the the highest R value in the industry. Uh, R value, for those of you who doesn't know what R value is, R value is the capacity of an insulating material to resist the heat flow. The higher the R value, the greater the insulating power. You also gain some efficiencies on the plumbing and electrical. In a traditional construction, concrete construction, you have to put the conduits, electrical conduits and plumbing before the concrete pour. With this system, you have the option of doing it after. You just only put the connections, the electrical boxes, and you do the pour. And after the pour, you bring the electrical team, you cut the foam with a hot knife, and then you just anchor it against the concrete, which is in the center, put spray foam, and then you finish it. Same thing for the plumbing. Depending on the thickness of the foam, you could put it in the within the foam. If it's a very a thick pipe that you need, you can use it inside the concrete. But if you have something that fits within the foam, you could do it everything like this. If it's a one story, but this is something that we will train. We will go over this with the contractor that you select. If you choose a contractor is already trained, then they already know how to do this. Um, Basically, this gives you a lot of innovation because it gives the designers the unlimited design flexibility. You can this system with this system you can adapt with curve to curve, angles, or anything. Literally, you have this project. This is a project that needed this big wall to insulate to protect against the sun, and you can tell it has a very higher value because the wall is very thick. So this is the flexibility that the system gives you. Let's talk about the benefits to the owner. In addition to the speed, in addition to the energy efficiency, which is part of what we're gonna mention, you're gonna lower the operating costs. When you complete that construction, you're gonna lower the operating costs, which is and you gain obviously what I mentioned, the energy efficiency. Energy consumption will come to probably a 50%. Most of the houses in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, USVI, they use air conditioning because of the climate. And that's the equipment that consumes the most energy 24 hours. So you're gonna get 50% of that consumption with our system. You're gonna reduce. Um, the highest R value in the industry, you will lower the utility bills, you'll maximize the use of the concrete thermal mass, and you're gonna have greater comfort. Let's talk about what is maximizing the use of the thermal mass. The thermal mass is the concrete, which basically there's three ways. It's important to understand why in a concrete structure you is so hot and why you get a lot of inefficiency because the concrete is a conductor at 100%. That means that any heat that receives, it will absorb it and it will transmit it inside the structure. And there's three ways of transmitting heat. You have convection, conduction, and radiation. Radiation is the sun. You automatically block it by the outside uh, uh, foam or EPS that you have. Conduction is when you have a conductive material like concrete, wood, metal. In this case, the concrete is 100% conductor, means that it absorbs 100% of what it gets, of the heat that it gets, and then it transmits it. Um, so in this case, you have the concrete that absorbs the heat and then transmit it in. The ICF blocks both sides of the thermal mass because the concrete is the thermal mass, and you automatically disconnect the concrete from any thermal variation. So you eliminate the conduction. And finally, the convection is the hot air that goes through, and the foam has zero porosity, so there's no air that goes through. Let me illustrate this in a thermal imaging. This is a concrete structure, and everything that you see orange here is the heat that that structure is absorbing. Anything that you see pink is cold. So this is an ICF. This is a quad lock with the R value 22. As you can see, it's not absorbing any heat. The only thing absorbing heat are the openings, actually the window frames, which is very minimum. So this is why the system is so energy efficient. In terms of value to the owners, the total ownership is lowered and can be amortized over a much longer period of time. Why? Because this structure is going to be 50, 100 plus years it's going to last. So you can have amortize this over a longer amount of time and reduce your payment. It also with lower cost, principal energy cost, principal extended for mortgages can be higher. That means that if you have less consumption of energy in your bill, you're gonna have more money to spend to put in the principal of any loan without impacting your debt to income ratio. That's very important because the banks lend according to the debt to income ratio. Um, and finally, you have higher value, which translates into higher rent, higher banking leverage, and higher resale value. Another indirect benefit that you're gonna get when the concrete thermal mass is disconnected from any variation, thermal variation, you're not gonna have any condensation. Right now, when you have a concrete structure, you get cold, you get hot, and that scientific process that turns that into different type of form. It's the condensation. You get that heat, that vapor turns into water, which turns into moisture that brings that humidity inside your house. Important that you understand that with ICF, you have a good ventilation system. You can eliminate the mold, the mildew, the humidity, and the moisture inside the house. That's huge for us in the Caribbean, and it works. It actually it works because the thermal mass is not changing. No condensation, no humidity, no food source for termites, mold, or rot. You will not have any air infiltration because the foam has zero porosity. ICF walls do not need vapor barriers. You're gonna have minimal dust, no airborne pollens, etc. Better indoor air quality. Uh, in terms of hurricane protection, all your walls are solid concrete shear walls. They're gonna withstand any winds of over 250 miles per hour. This was proven in Maria, Irma, and Dorian, three Category 5 that devastated the Caribbean, especially Maria and Irma. We felt that very strongly in Puerto Rico. Maria hit us very hard. We had properties in Virgin Gorda, San John, Vieques, Culebra, and the main island in Puerto Rico. All the projects were all the houses and structure were totally intact after the hurricane. It was really impressive to see it. I've been talking to this for many years, but when I saw it, it was impressive. It's stronger than concrete masonry units. You use a lot of blocks in the USVI. I saw many walls in Puerto Rico falling with winds of 250 miles per hour. So a solid concrete wall with a monolithic roof or floor will never. There's no wind lift that can take that roof away. The other important consideration that you need to know or have is that we are in a high seismic zone. The International Building Code has a seismic design category, which tells the designer how they need to reinforce those structures according to the seismic activity. So you put into things into perspective, the category goes from A to E. Now they have a new category of F, but A is zero seismic activity, E is the highest seismic activity, A is Florida, E is California. You might guess where you're at, but Puerto Rico's D2. So the USBI is in D1 or D2. So we're very high seismic. So that is important to know because if you have a structure, especially CMU is not too good for earthquakes. But when you have an ICF structure with solid concrete, you have shear walls, and your structure is by default resistant to very strong earthquakes. If you use helix to reinforce the walls, you're gonna have stronger and more flexible concrete. So the good news is that when you use this technology, you're also protected against earthquakes. Other benefits that you're gonna get a 4+ hour fire rating with this system. You also get some sound isolation, which is measured by a metric called STC, which is sound transmission class. This is a metric that tells you how much sound goes through or is blocked from going through a product. The higher the STC rating, the better the sound isolation. With our system, you get a rating of 55, which is sound deadening. Is the highest is the category. That means that between two walls, you're not gonna listen any noises inside your house or outside your house. So that's another indirect benefit that you're gonna get with this technology. Let's talk about the four components of the wall system. Quad lock system has four main components. You have the tracks, you have the panels, you have the ties, which are the connectors, and then you have the metal brackets. The panels are 48 inches long, 12 inches tall. These lines that you see here have a purpose. These lines every 12 inches, the dark lines, it tells the workers where to put the ties, the connectors. They don't have to even measure, think about it. You see the lines, these are lines that are aligned from top to bottom, so they know where to put them. And these other lines are in multiples of 2 inches, is for them to know if they need to cut the panels for the second layer. They just count the lines, it's 6 inches, count 3 lines and cut. That's helped them to be very efficient. For the panels, these are all the panels available to achieve all the R value combinations. This is the R value, as I mentioned. The higher the R value, the higher the insulating power of that structure. So here you have R22, which gives you a 50%. Just imagine you start with 50%. As you go higher, obviously you'll never get to 100%, but this probably going to be close to the 90%. But it's something important to know, obviously, unless you have a very compelling need to have a higher R value than R22, we always recommend to stay with R22 because it's the most cost-effective one. From the logistics standpoint, because we have to bring everything in containers, and from the cost per square feet standpoint. If you go to R value 38, for instance, you're gonna get a 70% energy efficiency, but you gain 20%. But the cost to getting for that 20%, you're probably gonna increase an additional container or additional containers, and the cost per square feet here doubles the cost of this one. So this is the most cost-effective one. Just wanted to let you know that. A second component of the wall system are the ties. They connect the panels in 4 planes of resistance. They serve as attachment points every 12 inches. They're molded rebar chairs. They come in 6 different lengths. It says 5, but it's actually 6. You got from 4 inches all the way to 14 inches. And this is what you're gonna get. This is the versatility. I want to mention that the R value variation here is the versatility advantage number one over the block system. The typical block system, they come pre-assembled and you get a fixed R value. You might get a little like 24 or 30, but they will never get to this combination. The second versatility point is the ties. When you have a block system, you have to have, like for instance, you have two different wall width here. You have 12 inches and you have 8 inches. In a typical block system, you have to buy the pre-assembled block of 8 and the pre-assembled of 12. So here you need to manage different type of inventories on the field. The versatility with our system is that you can change any width of walls by changing the ties. All the panels are interchangeable, so you don't have to do inventory management for each type of wall. So that's advantage number two on versatility. And these are all the ties working together. The other versatility point is that if you need to do an any a bigger cavity of the wall, we have the extenders. With the extenders that can be used in combination with any of the other ties. So you could do literally any type of cavity. That's something you cannot do in any other ICF system. And it's versatility advantage number three over the block system. And finally, in the corners, you got 90 degrees, and then you have 45 degrees in the typical block, flat block system. Pre-assembled, you have pre-assembled 90-degree corners and pre-assembled 45-degree corners. So what happens when you have a corner of 135 degrees? Then you have to adapt in the field, and that's going to be very difficult. Yeah, Quadlock invented the inner and outer corner brackets for 90 degrees and the angle bracket for any angle that you need. So that is part of the standard process. So that bracket opens and closes according to the angle acuteness that you need. So it's 135, is 85, is 95, whatever angle you need, you can do it. And you don't have to make any special adjustment. It's part of the standard installation process. This is versatility advantage number four over the block system. The last component of the wall system, quad-lock wall system, are the tracks. They are used to start and finish the wall. They come in regular and plus width. They secure the footings every 2.5 feet. This is an example of a combined wall width. You have here three different wall widths. You have 8, you have 10, and you have 12 inches. The only thing that you need to do in this case is change the ties. In the other systems, you have to have 3 different inventories. And in the traditional concrete, you have to form according to the width, which is challenging. Okay, you can also do curved walls. These are some examples of what you could do. Within the radius walls, you can also do arches. These are some examples of the arches. You cut the arches according to what you need. The product is very easy to transport, very compacted. We can put a lot of materials into a container. We ship over 60 or 70 containers per year. We do over 30 projects per year. So we have a lot of logistic bargaining power. So that bargaining power, we translate that to the customer. We transfer that savings to the customer. So the times, these are they come. The logistic advantage of using the Quadlock ICF through us is that they produce all the materials, the walls and the deck in one plant in the East Coast of the US. And that is put in a container and that goes directly to you in the US Virgin Islands. Have production redundancy, high quality volume, production capacity. Quadlock is the only ICF manufacturer that's ISO certified. And you say what that means to me? Well, basically, in the last 16 years that we have been fulfilling these materials, we haven't had any defective product coming out the door of that plant. So that is a significant benefit for the customers, contractors, and developers. And it's building code approved. Everything is approved by the International Building Code, International Residential Code, and this is a proven technology that has been approved for a long time. If you have a terrain like this, which in the islands, especially in St. Thomas, St. John, you find many terrains like this, and you needed to adapt the system to the terrain, you can. In this instance, for instance, this rock, instead of blowing it up, they build around it, cut the foam, and continue building. That's the flexibility that gives you system. As I mentioned to you, you can do pools. If you it saves you in the operating cost, in the speed. Also keep your water, hotter because it's insulated. If you want to do a pool, if it's below grade, you just nothing different from doing it in the house wall. You do the footings, you install the wall system, pour it, and then do the slab on ground, and then you do the finishing, which by the way, we have all these finishings. We have the finishing on the wall and floors, and then you have the pool plaster. And obviously put all the equipment. For the exterior finishing, you have flexibility. You could put pretty much anything you want. You could put stucco, vinyl, masonry, stone. The finishing solution that we bring to the projects is a very good one. But you have the flexibility of doing something else if you. Let's talk about the integration of the quad lock and quad deck system. As I mentioned, the integrated system gives you certain advantages. The main benefit of using this integrated system, first, you get the insulation integrity. I mentioned about the R value on the walls, but you don't have any R values on the roof. That heat is coming from the top. So you need to protect. That's the first one. The second one is the structural integrity. All the connections are here going to be monolithic. As I mentioned to you, you're going to get a monolithic structure. Why? Let's say you're going to do a wall of 10 feet tall, or a roof or a ceiling. So you're going to pour the walls up to 9 feet. Then you're going to install the beams. When you pour the roof, you're going to fill the walls, what was left of the walls. So this connection is always going to be monolithic. And there's no hurricane wind lift of any category that would take an ICF solid concrete connection monolithic structure away. It will not happen. The other important thing is not only the connection is going to be monolithic, the whole roof slab is going to be monolithic. You're going to save some concrete because of the form. You're also going to get span capacities because, as you can see, every 2 feet you're going to be forming a beam, and that beam is a structural beam. So that allows you to have more maximum spans without having columns below. That's an additional benefit that you're going to get. With less concrete, same strength. All right, so this you can install it very easily. You put 2x4s, 2x6, and you put beams perpendicular to the direction every 6 feet. Once you put the shoring in place, you don't have to put wood here because the form will take the weight and everything of the concrete pour. So once you put it with the shoring, you can walk on top of it. You could, as you can see, you could carry a lot of big beams and without any problems with the workers. Why you save 50% in concrete? Because this is all the concrete that you're gonna use. Let's compare this with a traditional slab. A traditional slab requires, this is an example of a 25 span with an 8-inch slab, concrete slab. In a traditional concrete, you will need to use for this specific span 37 cubic yards and 61 pounds of reinforcing steel. As you can see, you have 2 layers of rebar here in a two-way configuration. This is a two-way slab. This is a one-way slab because the direction of the rebar goes into one direction. The equivalent to our system and the same area is 19 cubic yards and 4,000 pounds. 19 cubic yards, 50% on the concrete of the concrete from the traditional, and 33 and 4,000 is 33% less than the traditional. Let's say you're gonna use Helix. We can eliminate this mesh that you have, this top reinforcement, which is the additional 53% that I mentioned to you. This rebar always have to be there because this is what gives the deflection and the bending moment in the long spans. If you take the foam out, this is the type of roof that you're gonna have. You're gonna have like a waffle kind of roof, and this gap here, you will never see it because the foam is covering it, and that's what gives you the insulation. So to summarize, what are the benefits of having this type of structure, roof structure? Long span capacity creates maximum free space. Insulated structure saves energy. We already talked about that. T-beam design reduces material. We already talked about the returning concrete and rebar. Is the most cost and labor efficient floor system in the industry. Very, very fast to install. In summary, these are all the applications you could do with the system. You could do fire resistant wall, foundation wall, ceilings and roof, pools, cisterns, fountains, whatever you want to do that requires water. And multi-levels, you could do multi-levels, you could do buildings, you could do 3 stories, whatever structure you want to do in terms of height, you can do it. Modern designs like this, institutional, and also challenging architectural challenging structures. Let's talk about Helix. Helix is a micro rebar, is a structural solution, which this is approved by all the codes, international building codes and international residential codes. It's very important for you to know, as we had a meeting with the DPNR commissioner, he mentioned that the USBI adopted the International Building Code of 1922, 2022, I'm sorry, which means that everything that is in compliance with the code is accepted. This is fully compliant structural solution. Is very, very important for you to know. This is something that you will not buy in Home Depot. This is something that needs to be dosed by a structural engineer, and that's why we are the authorized dealer, because we have in-house engineering. And that's very important for you to know. I want to make this clarity because people sometimes get misconceptions of how this product is applied. So Helix is a micro rebar that is designed to replace or reduce rebar in many applications. Why use Helix in your project? Because Helix is stronger, more durable, more flexible than rebar, significantly reduce the construction time, increase the construction efficiency. It will make the concrete stronger. Helix will increase the resiliency against earthquakes. It also increases the structural capacity of the concrete, the peak strength, which is the crack resistance. It increases the fatigue resistance by 300% and the flexural strength by 33%. And Helix eliminates the time-consuming process of rebar detailing and installing footings and foundations, replacing them with a simple dig and fill with concrete approach. Helix is a very small micro rebar of 1 inch long, and it's about a quarter of a quarter coin of thickness, as thick as a quarter coin. And within that inch, it has 5 twists, and that 5 twists, that twisted profile is it's similar to a corkscrew. That the only way that you can get it in or out is to twist it or untwist it. And just to give you an idea, the energy required to untwist Helix matches very closely to the energy required to pull a deformed rebar through the concrete. This is what sets Helix apart from any other fiber, which solely relies on the friction to resist the pull-up. As it untwisting behavior, which this untwisting behavior allows Helix to replace a conventional steel reinforcement in a wide range of applications. A medium dosage of Helix is about 15 pounds per cubic yards, and that means that you're going to have about 170,000 micro rebar dispersed throughout the concrete. So that's a lot of untwisting tensile strength, which typically provides equivalent bending moment capacity, higher shear strength, and better durability than typical traditional reinforcement. Let me show you how Helix is applied. Can be applied in two ways. You can do it in the concrete mix plant with the empty concrete truck, or you could do it at the site with the full concrete truck. In this case, we're gonna show examples of doing it at the site. It is mostly for small projects. It's recommended to do it at the site because you have everything there. And remember that this is replacing rebar, so you need to ensure that you get that dosage inside that concrete. So this is what you're gonna see here. This is the Helix box, which is 45 pounds. This is Helix coming out of the box. What we're gonna see here is a pour of an ICF roof in Puerto Rico. We're using Helix. The concrete truck is full. So then here we're gonna use a manual doser to put the Helix to disperse the rebar to make sure you don't have clumps. Once you get it in, you wait 7 minutes at full speed, and then you're ready to pour. That's all you need to replace the labor. Very easy to use. This concrete already has the Helix. Minor reinforcement on the top, very easy to pour, and you save a lot of time in putting a lot of labor putting the rebar. Let me show you another example of, in this case, this is a 7,000 square feet home with a flat surface. And this is a monolithic slab foundation, meaning that the footings and the slab on grounds are poured together. Let's see what happens here. In this case, we had 229 cubic yards of concrete. That's about 23 concrete trucks. The first thing we're gonna do, we have to put the Helix inside the trucks. As I mentioned, 229 cubic yards, 23 cement trucks. That was 4,100 pounds of Helix, and that replaced 100% of the slab on ground and the footing rebar. The only rebar that was required to put here are the dowels, which is the connection between the floor and the walls. This saves the contractor about 2 weeks of putting rebar. Significant labor savings, and it worked really well. And it's we have done right now, all the projects in Puerto Rico are being used with Helix successfully. We have done over 30 projects with Helix. In the USVI, we have used it, and in other islands of the Caribbean as well. So to finalize, the advantages of Helix, it's cost effective, it's a faster solution, it eliminates the steel placement errors, it improves the worker safety, it's a greener solution, it improves the rust resistance because it's electroplated, and it resists 3 times longer than conventional uncoated steel, and it eliminates the dominant cracks. So Helix can be not only used in ICF, you could use it in floors, concrete slabs, all these applications. You could use it like here, footings, foundation and footing, concrete slabs, concrete walls, road infrastructures, high performance concrete, tunnel, precast. And we basically we will dose it. If you have a structure, a floor, or anything that you want to do, you send us your structural requirements. Our engineer will analyze it and will give you the equivalence or the dosage that you need to use. This is sold only by dosage and by product. This product is not sold like boxes without any structural evaluation. That's very important for you to know. We have, as I mentioned to you, anything that adds value to the construction process, we bring it on. This is a fast foot, it's a forming solution for footings. Basically, it eliminates the forming with wood. You just do the frame, put this canvas, and then you pour. Those are the three. Then this is how it looks. This is the alternative, which is typical. And you could do also matte foundations or monolithic floor slabs as well. We have used it in several projects, and it's been the contractors really like it. We also have the bracing system. We have the metal ones, and we have this type. This type you can use with 2x4s. You only use these three items here, and you build this very quickly. This is more accessible, more economic than the metal ones, but if you need a metal one, we can facilitate that as well. Let's talk about the finishing. The finishing, uh, it's a very proven solution. We have partnered with a company called Cytocrete. We have been fulfilling these products for the last 13 years very successfully without any problems. We have the solution is composed of the bonding agent. The foam is very smooth, so you have to put that roughness to do the mechanical bond. So we have a bonding agent for that purpose. Then you put the cementitious base coat, which you have to put in all the surfaces of foam. Um, if you're gonna use this finishing solution, and you plaster it, and you smooth it out like similar to masonry. The only difference is that the masonry dries on gray and this dries on white color because it's made out of Portland white Portland cement. Um, we can tint this color. If you wanted any other color, we can tint it. That's something we have the flexibility of doing it. And for the exterior, we use an acrylic coat um, that actually has a texture and comes with color. Yeah, and the colors are very appealing. So you have the fast track, you have the uh, the base coat with the mesh, which is for impact resistance, and then you have the Cytoplast for the outside. Let me illustrate you how this works. First thing that you put is the fast track. You apply it by roll, and it dries very quickly. It gives you the protection, the humidity protection before putting the base coat. And after that, you mix the base coat with water, and then you apply a very thin coat with the mesh. After that, in between the two layers, you put another layer to cover the mesh. When you finish, you're gonna have a covered mesh. You're not gonna never gonna see the mesh. And finally, you have the Cytoplast in the outside. In the inside, people like smooth finishes, so that's why we typically specify the base coat in the inside. You smooth it out, and then you paint it the color you want. The outside, you choose the color that you want. We can color match 100%. You give us the color number, and we can match it. For the exterior acrylic coat, we have these three types of textures to choose from. And once you choose that, the materials will be produced with that. And when you apply it, it will take that texture by itself. Um, these are the standard colors for the Cytoplast. But if you don't like any of this, you could go to a Sherwin-Williams store, get the palette that you want, and give us the color number. We'll match it to 100%. Let's talk about the pool solutions. As I mentioned to you, we can do pools. Now that you know what is a base coat, you basically, after you do the pool, you put the base coat with the mesh, but you put it in the floor as well. And then after you put that and it dries, you put the cider-proof pool plaster. This is 100% waterproofer. After you put this, there's no water that goes in. We have done many cisterns in the USBI and in the Caribbean with this with no problems of whatsoever. So it works really well. If you're gonna do a pool and you want to have a different color, you can choose all these colors, and I'm gonna show you how they look with the water. This is the white. This is the cyan. By the way, this house is in San John. Um, this is the Ocean Cove. This is Caribbean blue, speckled black, speckled onyx, speckled glacier, speckled cobalt. So let's talk about the cider deck. And if you're not gonna put any tiles on the floor, you can use this decorative deck coating to do your pool deck. You basically apply with a hopper. It's just like a stucco kind of thing, similar to the base coat, and then you apply the sealer with a roller. The sealer comes with color, so you could actually color. We could put any color you want. These are the standard colors, but we can match any color that you like. This is how it looks in the pools, but it's important for you to know that you could use it in uh, in driveways and sidewalks. This is a house by using the gray one, and you. This is a pool. This is a pool that job that was done in St. Thomas. This is St. Thomas. The owner chose this color, and that's how that's what she got, and she was really happy with the results. Um, Finally, I want to mention the roof coating. As I mentioned again earlier, uh, you could choose any roof coating solution for your roof. Uh, but the silicone that we chose is specifically good for the islands. That's why we chose it. It's a high solid volume, only requires one coat, no primer. It's a high adhesion. It adheres to the concrete very strongly. Um, and the most important part, it has the NSF P151 certification, which is a certification for rainwater catchment systems components. That means that all the rainwater that you get, you can recollect it and you could filter it and drink it. Most of the roof coatings that you get in the market, they do not have this certification, so you cannot use as potable water. That's important for you to know. Special services, we provide, as I mentioned to you, project design, we do on-site training, we do technical support. We're going to provide technical support throughout the project. That's part of our business model. Uh, we do we do train the contractors on site. We do the installation support. We also provide project management and scheduling support because most of the time this is new for contractors. So we have a lot of experience, and that experience we transmit it and we put it into a schedule. And we also do the logistics. You don't have to worry about the logistics. We will deliver to any port in any island port in the USVI. Um, when we work every project, we create a schedule, and we provide the project management support. That's part of our business model. And then we put everything in the schedule. This helps the contractor to focus on the schedule and know how fast they can do it and stick to the schedule. You can do daily logs. You could document all the fixtures of every step or the stages of your project. Um, I'm gonna show you some projects that we have done. This is a house. This is an oceanfront house in Puerto Rico, which use all the products. As you can see, this is the base coat painted white. As you can see, this house has no difference. Nobody could ever tell that this is an ICF home. The stucco finish is really good. In the outside, it's really appealing. The colors are really good, very well defined. You could do any attachments. Once you put the base coat, you could put anything on top of the walls, no? Any tiles or whatever you would like to put. This is another house in Puerto Rico. The owner was a contractor. We trained him, and he did his own house. This is a house in Vieques. I wanna show you this particular one. Look at this. This is the angle bracket in action. This is what you could do with the angle bracket, something that you cannot do in any other ICF system. This is in Vieques. This is Culebra. This is Rincon. This is in Puerto Rico. This is a big home in Dorado. This is Bahia Beach. This is a water park, Puerto Rico. This is a commercial project in Puerto Rico. This is Virgin Gorda. This picture that you see here is after Hurricane Irma. You can see it only scratched the ciderplast. Didn't do anything to that house. That was one of the projects that withstand the hurricanes. This is in Tortola. This is in Tortola. This is in the Bahamas. These villas that you see here, they use the quad deck suspended floor, and everything that you see here is ICF, even the pitch roof. This is in San John, actually. As you can see, they did a pool, an ICF pool, gable roof, and when they finish the house, they put wood, to simulate wood on the roof, on the ceiling. Um, Very nice property in San John. And this property also was there before the hurricanes. This is in San John after the hurricane, and you could rent this as Airbnb. It's called Tropical Panorama. Very nice property. This is in San Croix. These are kids. This is in Jamaica. This is an example of a below grade cistern. As you can see, you could do a cistern. In this case, is in the middle of the house. Um, this is an above grade cistern.
Hi, Fernando.
This,
Can you go back to the
yes,
one for St. Croix, please?
yes.
You went.
This is a cottage. We have done over 7 projects in St. Croix. I just have only this one, but if you go to our social media, like Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, look for Caribbean ICF Solutions, you'll find posts of other projects in the USBI.
Okay, thank you.
This is St. Kitts. This is in Jamaica. This is in Puerto Rico. This is in Tortola. These are all examples of cisterns. So you know that they are being done in the territory and with no issues. We have an online store. If you're interested in buying our roof silicone product, you can go online 24/7, CICFS online store, and you could buy it. And we deliver to 21 destinations in the Caribbean, including all the islands in the USBI. This is basically what we do. We're customized ICF solutions, micro rebar solutions for all needs. We have world-class technical support and training, local factory training support, which are basically our staff, and we are a one-stop integrated added value solutions provider. To start the quoting process, if you're interested in this solution, please go to our homepage, CaribbeanICFSolutions.com, and go to register with us and register. Once you register in the homepage, we have an onboarding process. We will follow up. We'll follow through until the project completion if you are interested in following through. There, you can call us at 888-504-2999. As I mentioned to you, please visit our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn under Caribbean ICF Solutions. We have many posts, many projects there. I'm pretty sure there's a project there that you like, and we're here willing to support you. Just call us. We can support you from the planning to the execution stage. And this ends our presentation. I hope this has given to you a very good perspective and education of what this technology could mean to your project. And if you are interested, please do not hesitate to give us a call. We're here to support you. We're as close as a 30-minute flight from St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix. So thank you very much. This ends my presentation.
Thank you. That was an excellent presentation. I learned so much, and I'm so excited about this technology from looking at the first one that we did with the first presenter to now. And you answered a lot of questions that I had. So great presentation. Thank
Good.
you so much. I had one question. I'm just curious to know how were you introduced to this technology? How were you introduced to this?
That was basically we were looking for Actually, somebody mentioned it to me, and when I saw it, I really liked it, and then I pursued it, and it's not only having the ideas, is to make it happen. You know, you have the idea, and then say, well, we can do this, but how? Then you have, okay, I have the quadro. What I'm gonna do? Oh, finishing. Well, how am I gonna finish it? Then we develop the bonding agent that you see is our product. We develop that product. It's our brand. So we created that, and then we say, well, how? Oh no, the masonry doesn't work. It cracks. Let's find a, let's partner with somebody. So we partner with Cider Creek. That is a company from Europe that is in the US that actually have done this for 25 years. So then we had the solution. Then we found Helix. Then we finally put everything together with engineering, planning, and we knew that in the islands there's no support, and our business model addresses that lack of support that you have. You can buy any ICF product, but you buy the product and good luck, because nobody's going to help you. With us, we're going to be with you from the planning stage all the way to the execution stage. And we also have an engineer that is an expert and is registered in the USBI. So any plans that we stamp, it is by an approved engineer in the USBI. So that's how we got into it, and now it become a mission because with these devastating events like Maria, Irma, hurricanes, earthquakes, we also have the responsibility of protecting our territory against the future ones. That's how we got into it.
Well, perfect. And so you're a pioneer. And with being a pioneer, right, with this technology, my question is about market entry. How were you able to, get promote or get people on board of using this for their homes? Was it easy for you to
No,
sell this
no.
product? Okay.
It's been very challenging in Puerto Rico and all the islands. There's a big, strong resistance of change. I'm pretty sure in the islands, your CMU in Puerto Rico is concrete and blocks too. That industry, everybody knows that, they know how to do it. But I think we started in 2009 giving seminars to the College of Engineers, the architects. Very, very challenging. Everybody was pushing back. But throughout the years, and after Maria and after the earthquakes, people have been recognizing that what they have, there must be something better, because it failed during the hurricanes and during the earthquakes. So, and that's what people start getting more interested, and that we were getting a lot more popularity. And by then, we had a a very complete solution. So we were able to be there in the right timing when the hurricane and after that. So that's how we got into it. How we get leads. Honestly, the best promotion we get is the owners satisfied. Hey, I did this. Can you call them? And that's how we get the leads.
I want to express my appreciation for your dedication and commitment to bringing this new technology that's very much needed, to our construction and being a pioneer, as I said, because yeah, this sounds it sounds amazing for all that it can do and all that it solves all the issues that we have, a lot of issues that we have. Jamila, do you have any questions or?
Senor Martinez, excellent presentation. But most of all, I concur with Nicole at a time when it's so needed. This is absolutely an answer to so many issues. I'm going to be contacting you about my own home because this
Great.
for structural integrity and things that have to be done post Irma and Maria, but also to prevent future events. And I just think the benefits are exceptional. My one question would be about the cost for the microfiber, the rebar, the helix. Does that increase the cost of the project a lot? Is it more than the traditional rebar, or does it offset the additional cost because you don't have the labor cost of, cutting and running normal rebar?
That's exactly how you describe it. When you compare the Helix, side by side with the rebar, Helix is a little bit more expensive. But because we're specifying Helix in the areas that we can eliminate the labor, when you add the labor plus the rebar, is always more than Helix. So not only you're gonna save money, you're gonna gain strength and you're gonna increase the speed of the construction. But just imagine not having to put rebar on the footing slab on ground. That's something we're working, and this is something we're working with the PR Commission. And specifically, I asked this question because most of the inspectors are not aware of this technology. And this is code approved, but they want to see the rebar. No, I want to see that rebar. But this is a different technology. You're getting the same strength without the rebar, but you have to know that this is an approved solution, and it's approved by the code. It's just a matter of understanding new technology. Our engineer is a subject matter expert, so when he say that you're gonna have a number 3 at 12, and Helix is gonna replace that number 3 at 12, you can rest assured that that is the right dosage for replacing that beam.
And I think the fact that you are a turnkey operation and you support training other tradespersons, it is just exceptional. Thank you so very much. And we so appreciate your participation as a coalition partner in the Innovative Housing Construction Campaign and Summit. And we look forward to working with you and your company and your participation and demonstrations at the summit in October.
Thank you very much. Important to know that we're very close to you. We're islanders as well. We understand the culture. We understand the needs of the region, and we look forward to be supporting the USVI, you and the USVI in any effort that you need to do for building with our solution.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you for the opportunity. Very appreciated.
Thank you. We look forward to educating more people about this technology. So thank you for being with us and sharing very insightful, detailed presentation with us. Have a great day.
Thank you.